Hey, how's it going, everyone? So, you want to become a software developer and you want to learn programming, and you're probably confused about which programming language should an aspiring developer learn first. To be honest, it's a valid confusion because there are a lot of great choices and there is no one correct answer. So, in this video, I'll guide you through the process of choosing your first programming language, and I'll tell you everything, and at the end of the video I'll give you my 2 cents on which programming language would I choose if I were to start learning programming again from today. So let's get right into it. Let's first address the elephant in the room. What do you want to build? What do you want to become? I mean, if you want to become a web developer, I would recommend you the Swiss Army knife of programming languages, that is JavaScript. I mean, you cannot never go wrong with JavaScript, by the way. It's on the record, you can never go wrong with JavaScript. Even if you want to become a front-end developer, or actually front-end web developer or back-end web developer, JavaScript is the way to go. Now, if you want to build Android apps, become an Android app developer, I would recommend you to go with Kotlin. Now, Java used to be the way to go for a long time, but the standards have changed. There's a lot of code written in Java, but in 2021, I would recommend you to learn Kotlin for Android. It's that easy. The next case, if you want to build iOS apps, you want to become an iOS app developer, build apps for iPhones or iPads, then I would recommend you to learn the language called Swift. And you'll need a MacBook or a Mac for that. You'll need a Mac OS to build apps for iOS. You can build Apple stuff in Linux or Windows. Now, if you want to become a game developer, build games, it sounds fun. It isn't. I would recommend you to either learn C++ or C#. Go to LinkedIn or Twitter, search for a game developer, ask what they are using. Probably it's a different industry and it's not easy. You'll need to learn a lot of physics and maths, probably. I'm not sure, but probably. Now, at the very last, do you want to learn machine learning? You want to get into the magical world of AI, data science? I would recommend you to learn Python or R, but I would recommend you to learn Python. If you hear machine learning, data science, or artificial intelligence, learn Python. It's the way to go. Probably the way to go. Now let's look into the other factors you can consider while choosing your first programming language. You can go to the annual Stack Overflow survey, and there is an option here for most loved programming languages. You can check the most loved programming languages, most dreaded programming languages, most wanted programming languages. Well, it might actually vary from where you live, but it won't matter that much because you can easily get a remote role anywhere. There is an option here for checking the average salary of developers. It allows you to look at the role and how much they're earning, basically. It's not the greatest idea to choose a language just by money, but I'm just telling you what it is. You can check it out if you like. You can choose the profession like this. I mean, some of the people I know who chooses to learn programming are learning because of financial reasons, which is completely fine. And so I guess it's time for me to give you my final recommendation and tell you about the programming language which I would choose if I were to start learning programming again from today. So the programming language which I would choose is JavaScript. The number one reason behind choosing JavaScript as the first programming language is it's easy to learn. You can seriously just watch a couple of few tutorials on YouTube, spend a few hours on it learning the syntax, and watch a few tutorials. In couple of hours, you can really start building a graphics user interface, a website, or a small game. You don't have to spend weeks or months learning the programming language and then start building something. The syntax is really simple, comparatively that is. The second reason is that today it is nearly used everywhere. It is used in front-end web development, it is used in back-end web development, it is used in machine learning. It can also be used to build apps for mobile phones, it can be used to build web apps, it can be used to build desktop apps. It is literally used everywhere. It's not that you should use it everywhere, but it can be, which has its own advantages. Even the goddamn CEO of Stack Overflow said that if something can be built with JavaScript, it will eventually be built with JavaScript. Now he may not be right, but he's got a point. Now the third reason behind choosing JavaScript is that it's one of the most popular programming languages with a great career potential. You can literally spend a couple of months learning JavaScript and a few other things and find an internship or an entry-level job in a startup. You can even start freelancing if you're not into jobs. JavaScript is used in most of the biggest tech companies, Google, Microsoft, Facebook, Amazon. It's everywhere. Instagram. So at the end, my suggestion would be to learn JavaScript, learn the basics, and move on to another language called TypeScript. It is developed by Microsoft and it is basically just JavaScript on steroids. If you start with JavaScript and then move on to TypeScript, I promise you'll love your career. Well, that's about it. I hope this video was helpful. If you have any questions, leave them down in the comments and subscribe for more developer content. I'll be making these videos more often now, and see you next time, hopefully. Bye bye.